My secret, just do something that ain't nobody ever done before, but make it sound like something that's always been there forever.
Welcome to This Filipino American Life, a podcast that explores the nuanced experiences of Filipinos in the United States. At iba pa, my name is Elaine Delalas, and I am joined by my fellow co-hosts.
Hey, it's Ryan.
Joe Bernardo.
And we have some guests with us right now. Could you introduce yourselves?
It's Girly.
And
I don't have a fun way to say my name though.
you can make it up right now.
It's Vince. That was pretty good, I think.
So we're a full house right now. Oh, and one more person who has to share a mic.
Mike.
Hi, Mike's here.
Yeah.
I'm not on.
I know, but we have to introduce you because that's a part of the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're kulang some mics, so we need some more mics.
Yeah, if you want to sponsor some mics, email us. You can send us money and we'll buy more mics.
Man,
It'll be the
she's
best. So, and we'll name the mic after you, whoever wants to sponsor it.
That's a good idea.
So,
there you
it could be the
Tatak Filipino.
Tatak Filipino microphone, or the whoever wants to buy us a microphone.
The Kaiser Hospital microphone.
There you go.
You know, any one of those. But yeah, so on this episode, we're going to talk about one of our favorite things. Ryan.
Oh, as a food appreciator.
Yes.
TV? We're talking about TV again?
Oh, well,
No.
Actually, maybe a combination of both, huh?
Yeah.
Food and television. And
Yes.
restaurants.
Restaurants.
Did I say that right?
Restaurants.
Restaurants,
Restaurants.
eateries.
Eateries.
Yeah, so what are some of your favorite restaurants in LA, everyone? Or even nationally? I'll start. 'Cause
I see there's a list there.
I got one in my head right away. Whenever Mike asks where you want to go eat for dinner, I say this word. Oyster.
Oh.
oyster.
So Oyster is a Los Angeles-based, of course, because it's an LA, restaurant called by Chef Andre Guerrero. It's owned by Filipino Americans. It's slow food cooked fast. I guess that's their thing.
Slow fast food.
Slow fast food.
Fast food cooked slow.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike is like,
Mike's
Elite's
angry now.
ruining it. But I love that spot. They have the best burgers. They do
Oh my
Burger of
God.
the Month. I think the Oyster Hollywood staff recognize us because they just say hi. So we're there all the
Sounds
time.
good.
Dude, they have the best adobo burger
That's the best.
ever.
Yes.
Ever. I've tried like other variation or other people who try to do like an adobo burger, but yeah, they do it really good.
And Mike finds this weird, but my favorite thing on the menu is a Chinese chicken salad.
What?
Dude, I
Nice.
love that salad.
That salad
Really?
is so
That
good.
salad is so good.
I crave
I
that
have
salad.
never
It is so
ordered
good.
that at Winkster.
It's so good.
It's really
I have
like
never
demolished
ordered-
that
I've never
salad.
heard of that.
I didn't even think there was a salad on the menu.
Oh my god, it's good. They have a Thai one, but the Chinese chicken salad is so much
the
better.
Chinese chicken salad.
It's so good.
Wow.
And if you go to Eagle Rock, Oyster Eagle Rock, the rotisserie chicken is so good.
that's pretty
Oh
good.
my
That one's
god.
pretty bomb, too.
Wait, how much chicken is in the chicken salad?
It's a lot of chicken. There's a lot of chicken.
Maybe I'll order it.
I mean, if you don't want it, I'll finish it. But the burgers are always good.
Yeah.
That the pastrami there is so good. What else is really good there?
Horchata.
Or the fries, the horchata,
And their secret menu,
and the secret menu.
There's a secret menu?
the ube milkshake.
Oh, that's
That's
secret?
not secret. It's there, a regular.
What do
It
you
used to be secret.
No,
the Eagle
dude.
Rock one.
It's now like regular.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't know it was a secret.
But I think there are secrets.
Maybe
but-
the salads are secret. I didn't know.
Hey, man. But that's one of my favorite restaurants. How about you, Ryan, food appreciator?
This is a tough one. We're talking about Philam restaurants, right?
Or
Or restaurants in general. I don't know. There's new ones that are actually that I like. I think I went there recently. Lhasa is pretty good. Rice Bar in downtown. It's like a small. It's like what seats like 8 people. It's like a counter diner
Yeah,
kind of
it's
setting,
so
which is
good.
kind of cool.
They serve rice. It's like breakfasts, like silogs and stuff.
Yeah. But growing up, if I ever found like a turo joint, I love it. I love that stuff. Like a point, not actually
Like
point.
Pinoy Pinay.
Well, I grew up going to finding Filipino food, and most of the places you can find in the 80s and 90s were
DJ Babinkahan.
point joints. Well, there's a place called Point, but Turo Turo, like Manila Sunset was a Turo Turo place.
Yeah.
Bahay Kubo, a Turo Turo place.
That still exists.
That still exists in historic Filipino town.
on Temple Street.
But yeah, that's kind of how I knew. And then there's like Nanay Gloria's and all that. So if
Nanay
I want
Gloria's.
like those kind of home cooked meals, I usually go to a Turo Turo joint, something like that.
What about you, Joe?
Filipino restaurants. I actually like Manila Social Club in New York.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's in Williamsburg. I went there and it's
sounds
really good
hipster.
food.
Sounds fancy.
It's the thing is, it's like it's really, I'm doing air quotes, refined Filipino food, but like the portions are still like regular.
Their portions are tabachoy sauce?
Yeah, it's so good. Like it's like the perfect. For me, I think it's like perfect mixture of like this new wave of Filipino food and traditional. So I really like Manila Social Club. In terms of like down home cooking, I like what's it called? Tangina, yung ano.
That's not a restaurant, everybody. Joe was like exclaiming.
Arco Market.
Oh, yeah.
Best sisig.
Yeah, so they have a hot food section inside the market, which I love. And then my favorite kind of just sit down traditional Filipino restaurant is
Bay Area?
yeah. What's the one?
Oh, shoot. You told me about it too. We were just talking about this. Are we old?
I know. I'm
Yes.
so old, dude.
In Daly City?
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
we went to with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
Karilagan.
Karilagan.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one.
I've never
I went there
heard of
too.
that.
Yeah, they like consistently have like really good tradition, like really good home cooking, and really big portions and nice size, and yeah, relatively like easy weight. Yeah, it's really good.
What about you, girly?
It's a little hard to answer this question because for me, it really depends on my mood. I mean, if we're talking about just like what I like to eat in general. But in terms of Filipino food, I really didn't start going to even Toro Toro joints until I was in college when I moved away. Because I grew up in Stockton and like there was my mom's house. And there wasn't any restaurants that were cooking dishes that had the same type of flavor profile as the ones that my family cooked. So, I mean, now I think my go-to is definitely Lasa in terms of Filipino restaurants. I love that crew. The customer service is always wonderful. It's like walking into a family, dining room. And I love the fact that they're taking all these really traditional Filipino flavors and doing different takes on them. And I was also born in the Philippines, so I just feel like I've gotten to this point where I want something a little more interesting than your typical
Well, you went to
dishes.
Bad Saint in D.C. when you were in Alaska.
Yes.
How was that?
That was really wonderful as well. It was definitely experience because my friend and I waited for maybe like 4 hours.
Was it like
That's like 2 movies.
I know. We got there. We got there like 30 minutes before they were supposed to open, and both of us were like, "Oh, it'll be fine. We'll get there 30 minutes before. If there's a little bit of a line, no worries." There were people when we got there. There were people sitting in portable camping chairs,
Oh, wow.
reading magazines.
That's like Franklin's barbecue style, right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So is it fine dining portions or is it tabachoy portions?
Well, if we're gonna stick to those definitions, it's probably more on the fine
Fine
dining
dining.
side. I mean, and also there's probably seating for only about 30 people.
So you have to order double each time? Like, I want two.
But
You don't have to order double each.
the thing is, like, the flavors are so distinct that you will leave full, you know, however many dishes that you end up getting. I mean, with the two of us, we were able to share a number of dishes, but you know, they make everything there, even the bogoong, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And then they crush their own peanuts for the kare kare. I mean, it was really, really good. And in terms of like similarities to Lhasa, they too were taking all of these really traditional flavors and doing new things with them. But the dishes were, I believe, more representative of ingredients that are available on the East Coast.
Interesting.
But I mean, it was definitely an experience. I can still taste the squid adobo that we got.
Oh, wow.
It was so good.
That sounds really good.
But and their just a signature dish is the kare kare, which was also really, really. It was wonderful. But yeah, so that place is definitely, I think, worth the hype.
Interesting.
If you're gonna go and you know, wait in line. We were lucky enough to be the last two to be seated that evening.
Wow.
So, I mean, in terms of just kind of my my interest in still kind of sticking with traditional flavors or typical flavors, I guess, and then doing new things to them, Lhasa and Bad Saint are definitely within that spectrum for me.
Interesting. What about you, Vince?
I think mine's probably the same as Ryan's, where it's the second I moved out of my parents' house, then I didn't have that much rice. So it's like you either make your own rice and warm up some corned beef or something, or sardines, or you pass by and you're like, oh, look, Nana Gloria, I'm going to get some right now.
Yeah.
And the recipe there is, there's not really like a 2-item, 3-item. It's a, hoi, what do you want? and then you just say dinuguan, and then it's all of a sudden a huge portion.
Yeah.
And I like the places where it's a 2-item with, you know, white rice, but it's too much in that, so they just get you another separate one.
Yeah.
And they just put the second item in there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't even eat this, but I'm going to try. Those places I love because those places, they're taking care of you just like your parents would.
Yeah.
And they don't care. You know, they're like, oh, it's a 2-item. I'll just give you one scoop. I'm just going to fill this whole thing up, and it doesn't even matter.
Some of them, you know, they do take care of you.
Yeah.
But other
And some of them
restaurants
don't.
are, they're just super koripot. And like, it's just...
We're not calling you out, Goldilocks.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't exist anymore, but yes.
Lilin.
Like a lot of those...
They might sponsor us.
I know. Sorry. Take it back. I'm just kidding.
There's a lot of turo restaurants where they just suck.
Yeah.
And like
We won't
they
name
don't.
names,
No,
but
I'm not
yes.
naming any names. But you know, like we talked about before, they only give you like really crappy parts of the meat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Or the
lukewarm.
mongo, or the mongo has nothing in it. It's just the mongo beans.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Do you guys
And
find
like-
that hurts you, helps you too if you don't speak Tagalog? Because you go in there and if they think you know that you're speaking Tagalog to them, then they'll give you more. They give you the good portions.
Actually,
so I think
that's
you just
worked.
kind of point. You just point. You just oh yeah.
Well, I spoke Tagalog at some of the restaurants, and
Maybe it's
Still
because
didn't
you're a
work?
boy.
maybe
Yeah.
Because it worked for me and I was a girl, and Mike can't talk because Mike will like totally ruin it because he can't do the accent correctly. But I'll do it, and I'll get more.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, whenever we're at restaurants, Joe and I always, at Toro Jones, I always make him order.
Yeah, that's true. Because Joe can speak the language.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, going back to what you were saying, girly, about growing up and having the Filipino food was only at the home. I think a lot of it also is that there's not a lot of restaurants out there that specialize in like non-Tagalog food.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I've seen more lately. Like I've seen like pinapaitan, for example, like Ilocano dish, served at different like turo places. But in general, it's mainly Tagalog stuff.
Yeah, like my family's Ilocano, and I didn't know what the heck kare kare was until I moved to LA.
Oh.
I'd never had it.
I don't think we really Vince, did we have that? We didn't really have
don't
that
think
at
so.
family parties.
Yeah.
So like I didn't know what it was, and everybody would talk about it and be like, "No, that dish looks weird."
Yeah. we didn't really have like sisig or anything like that stuff either. It was just kind of like the basic stuff.
Yeah.
And then the semi-American stuff,
Yeah.
No turkey at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And it was ham and a bunch of other, pancit and stuff like that. we never know what turkey was until later on. I don't think.
Until white people joined our
yeah.
family.
I try to explain to folks that there are Filipino party foods and there's like Filipino daily foods.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like
But the point is party food.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a
So it's
combination of
No, it's both.
It's both. Because you have your daily like nilaga and sinigang and
Yeah.
adobo with rice.
But then I
And
can
then there's,
choose
like,
to eat
lumpia.
dinuguan and lumpia. all
Like
the
no one
time.
eats pancit every day, but we eat rice every
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
But you could if you
You
went to point every day and then you die. That's why our people have high blood pressure, hypertension, and diabetes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a non-Filipino people think we eat lumpia like every day.
Yeah.
When you know how hard it is.
Yeah, I know.
Unless you go to
Like,
Cebu
that's a
City and buy
party food.
the frozen one, you can have it every day.
Yeah.
But before
Yeah,
it was
dude.
not like you're wrapping them every night.
Right.
Yeah, you got to do an assembly line with
Yeah.
lumpia.
Right. And even more than that, like lumpia sariwa. That's
Oh
like
my god,
very,
it's so
God.
hard.
it's almost like a quote air quotes too, like fine dining kind of lumpia, right? Because
It
you
is
know,
so
like you deep
hard.
fry
The process.
Yeah, the process.
Yeah.
Usually, if you go to like a restaurant, they assemble in front of you like
Yeah.
a crepe, right? So
And they make their own crepes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So but
So I have a question. What makes you go to, or what do you look for in a Filipino restaurant?
like a sit down,
Either
or
one.
doesn't matter.
Either one.
Well, I look at the Yelp ratings, and I
Obviously,
want to
that's a regular
see
restaurant,
whether
right?
or not it's going to be good.
Yes.
Well, I look to see if there's a bunch of titas there.
It's true.
And then what?
And then if there's a lot of titas there, then
You're
it's
like,
a
legit?
good place. Yeah.
But what if there's
Yeah,
a bunch
usually.
of titas there and they're just complaining?
Okay, well, that's a different
Wait,
story.
Tita's eating there or Tita's working there? Because Tita's complaining eating there is different. They might have some good Titas in the back.
We love our titas.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good thing, Girly, is, yeah, if you look for, like, there's a place in Granada Hills called Ninong's. They do breakfast and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. And there's a Tita that's been there forever. And she
Yeah.
just looks at you and goes, hey, what do you want?
Yeah.
You want menu? And you're like, no. She's like, okay, what do you want? Longanisa? Okay. And she just will build your plate for you. You're not even
so
picking
cool.
something. You're just like, okay, I make it cheaper. Rice, side of rice is
my
better than the meal. And then, okay, swipe.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she knows. So shout out to Ninong's.
I appreciate the titas working there, but I do not like the titas who like cut in line, especially at
That's a
Hope You
Lane's
Like
thing.
It
That's a Lane's.
in Winnetka. When twice,
Oh my gosh,
both
Elaine,
times
this
I've been
story.
cut off by some titas who are like, I'm in a hurry, I have to go, and I'm like, hey lady, one line, I'm also here. Don't cut in front of me. And then they just let her cut, and I have to stare at her and throw daggers with my
Wait,
eyeballs.
so you don't say anything, Elaine, to them? Or no?
I did one time. One time the tita cut in front of me, and she was paying, and then I was next to pay, and then in my mind I thought of you because Vince has the best way of saying like "f you," but is really nice at the same time.
passive aggressive.
It's very passive aggressive. And so when the lady was paying, I looked at her and I was just like, "Have a nice day." And then she just like, "Oh, thank you," and then I was like,
Did you say it in an accent or no?
"No, I didn't."
She probably didn't hear you.
No.
You had to say it in an accident.
I was so mad, and then that's why I don't like going there, even though the hopia is delicious there. God damn, you hope you like it. But if you want to sponsor us, I'm totally down. You can give us all the hopia you want.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
We'll name a
amazing.
mic after
Name a
Hopia.
mic after your hopia. It's like amazing.
Hope you like Mike.
Oh my god, can we? That'd be amazing. But hope you like it. You got to do that. Or any other hopia place that would like to sponsor us, we'll gladly take your hopia money.
So yeah, I look at when I go to like Turo places, I look for what they call like the Pulilan corner.
Okay.
So like if there's like mounds of lechon kawali and like mounds
Of
of
dilis?
chicharon, mounds of chicharon bulaklak and mounds of like
Ooh.
dilis, then I know this is a good place. This is a good place.
For all you listeners out there, chicharon bulaklak is fried flowers.
That is legit what it translates
that is the
to.
literal translation.
I'm just kidding. It's actually really deep fried pork.
It's deep fried,
Fried
pork,
pork
intestines. With and it needs to have a piece of meat attached to it.
Yes.
Oh, it's
So
so good.
So
High blood.
for me, there's two things. If I go to a Turo joint, I know what I'm gonna get. What I mean by that is like I'm not expecting anything to like blow my mind.
Yeah.
I'm usually like I'm hungry. I want my rice.
Yeah.
I want my whatever it is, right? Like caldereta.
Rice
Yeah.
and ulam. That's
Yeah,
what you want.
rice and
Just
ulam.
Yeah.
It's gonna fill me up. I know what to expect. I hope that it's good, but if it's not good, it's doable, right?
Yeah.
But when I go to a sit down restaurant, I guess with any restaurant, but especially with Filipino or Filipino American restaurants now, I'm always looking for something to maybe not really blow me away, but I always look for something that I can remember. So like, those are the things that excite me. Like if there are new flavors, like Girlie was saying, like you like the idea of like blending flavors together, taking a twist on new things. I do too. I think the last time we had a meal at Lhasa, I can't forget those noodles. I want to make them.
It was my birthday.
Yeah, I want to make them. And I was like, oh, those are really, really good because I like these noodles. I've always liked them. I've always liked the malabon palabok noodle flavor. And it's just different.
It was a really simple dish.
Yeah.
too.
And I was like, I want to eat this all the time kind of thing.
Yeah.
I had that experience at Rice Bar. All these restaurants are getting free plugs, by the way.
Yeah.
But we love them. So Rice Bar, they have a dilis silog.
Oh my God, that's
and
my
it's
favorite.
basically the black rice,
Yeah.
Fresh tomato. Is there avocado?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the dilis, and it is so
Delicious.
delicious. High five, Joe. High five. High five.
I mean, you lobbed it to him and he knocked it out of the park. It wasn't
did.
even a fastball. It was a slow pitch. And Joe was just like,
He's waiting
he was
for it.
salivating. He was like, oh my God, this is my joke.
Where's coming? Where's coming? Where's coming? That was really good, Joe. I'm not gonna lie. It was awesome. But like, and legit, it is delicious.
So when the first time that Joe and I went there and I was looking at their menu, I thought like, man, that dilis bowl is like the most down home Filipino dish
Yes.
that they have on
Yes.
that menu. I'm like, I'm gonna get that.
Yes.
Because it totally reminded me of like just my mom sitting down, every evening, like not really knowing what she wants to eat, and she just puts like rice and fish together and tomatoes,
Yeah.
and there you go.
That's totally like my parents making breakfast, and they're like, well, what do we have? We have rice. I'm going to microwave some sardines,
Yeah.
and then I'll make some corned beef. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, same concept.
That sounds good. I'm hungry now.
I know, I'm so hungry now. You had mentioned like there's like it's like a work line for making certain things. Have any of you ever thought about working in the hotel or hospitality industry, like working in a restaurant?
I have,
You have?
yeah. I
what?
That's your wife.
I did my undergrad.
Learning new things, Joe.
That was not planned.
I did my undergrad at the University of San Francisco. Shout out to all the Dons. And they have a really big hospitality management program at USF.
Were there a lot of Filipinos then at that school?
There were, yes, the Filipino Student Organization was the second largest. The first largest was the Hawaiian Student
nice.
Association.
Well, those are all
That's the number
ethnicities
one
that are heavy
Yeah.
in the hospitality industry.
Yes, yes.
They just got members from the Filipino club. Okay, anyway,
Another podcast.
Yes. Anyway, so I did my undergrad in international business, but there was an opportunity to do to double major in hospitality, and I loved. But there were a number of my friends who were in the hospitality program. So I loved going with them on their assignments to go review restaurants. Like they had to go and talk about the service, the atmosphere.
San Francisco is a good place for that. There's a lot of
Yeah.
hotels. I could see how
my
like
God,
that
it
would
was-
be
Yeah,
an
totally, yeah.
ideal
It was
place.
That's
so-
ideal, yeah.
And we went to a range of different kinds of restaurants, from your very casual to fine dining, and so that's kind of where I just I got more exposed to that and started to get more interested. And then when I looked to see how possible it would be, I would have had to be there for probably another year, and then to do like 1,000
Internship
some hours
yeah.
of work. And at a private school, that is not cheap.
No.
And I also thought like, okay, to be in this business of it's so rough, and even being a woman, it's an industry where you're even more challenged as a person of color and as a woman. So I really thought like, okay, is this an industry that I'm going to really be passionate about to work in? And at that point, I didn't think that it would be. So, I mean, I've always been a lover of the hospitality industry, and the all of the intentionality that goes into it. But it just ended up not being an industry that I could see myself in for a very long time.
I thought about it, but then I was like so sad because in college, like Irvine didn't have a hospitality program. So like I was like, oh, I have transferable skills. It's customer service. I could do this, blah, 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 and critical thinking. And then when I was in grad school, I did an internship at Cal Poly Pomona. And they have one of the top hospitality programs in Southern California. And like I had to participate in like a dinner or not dinner, like an afternoon tea. And it was at something called the Kellogg Center. And the Kellogg Center is run by students. So all the students are chef. They're the front of house. They're all the waiters. And it's a part of their program. And I was like, oh, if only I could go back in time. Like I don't even know if I would have known that. Like that's what I would want to do. But it's so fascinating that there are students now who get to do that.
It's a rough life.
Yeah. How about you, Ryan, Joe, Vince?
I've never really thought of it seriously, but I would like to, if I ever get rich, I want to finance a restaurant and just
really?
Like be the owner.
Yeah, just be the owner and be like, just go there
Hire
and like
everybody else to do the
yeah,
work.
go there, have free food,
Yeah.
and then like experiment with some weird half-baked ideas that I had, like a,
Oh my
a
God,
puto
the
bread
puto
bowl,
bread bowl.
right?
Yeah, there you go.
But no, not seriously as a career. No, I would never probably do that.
No, maybe bartend, but no, not really. That's about it.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of those moments after college. I was like, what am I gonna do with my life? Oh, I'm gonna bartend. It never happened. I just drank. I'm like, that would be bad if I bartended and drank.
What about you, Vince?
I don't think not directly.
Yeah.
You always see, and it just seems so hectic.
Yeah.
That's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be in that chaos, but I don't know. There's a bunch of Filipinos everywhere. I feel like it's like the serving that we want to do, right? It's
Yeah.
like nurses are like that. They want to help people. And, Asian mentality is you got to feed somebody and you
Yeah.
got to help them.
Yeah.
So you're essentially doing both at the same time.
Yeah.
And you want to feed somebody. I don't know why it's like that.
Well, we're going to take a break and then we'll have our guest come and join us. Should I introduce who our guest is now? Well, for our break? I mean, they read it. If they read the bio, they'll know. If you subscribe to the podcast, which you should totally subscribe to the
On
podcast on iTunes, it'll state that our guest today is top chef, tested, frequent person on TV.
killing me.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Read the description.
It's Dale Talde.
Yay.
Woo.
So we're going to talk to him and we'll be back.
By the way, that was all part of the script.
It was. I totally read all of that.
Even the woo.
And we're back.
Yes.
Awesome. And we have a special guest today with Dale Talde. Hello, Dale.
How you doing, Dale?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Dale is from Top Chef, and he's a restaurateur and has several restaurants all over up and down the East Coast. So we're really excited to talk to him today. And yeah, who wants to do the first question?
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
How you doing, Dale? I guess our first question is, how'd you get into cooking?
I'm like, second generation American. My parents, large family. I got into cooking just kind of how my mom's always a great cook. My aunt, she's from a large family, tons of aunts, all of them equally as good cooks. And when there's 8 aunts in a city and there's a birthday, a christening, a graduation, some event, once a month. So it's always potluck. And you just, from my point of view, is always watching the best of my family's foods come together. So it was always fun and interesting for me to see like who would make what. And I just got interested in food at an early age. I'm just kind of never a dude who was going to sit behind a desk and bang away at the keys, or I wasn't very studious. It didn't come natural to me. So I like to be creative. So I think that's how food came to me personally.
So, Dale, this is Ryan. So our last few episodes have been about food, which we love to talk about. I've proclaimed myself the appreciator of food in this podcast, and also we've talked about television. And I wanted to ask you about your experiences as a TV personality for the reality show Top Chef when you were on it. How did that happen, or what were your experiences like being a Fil-Am contestant on a show like Top Chef?
As a Filipino American, I always thought it was just par for the course. I mean, for me, it wasn't. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to talk about my experience if it was something else, because obviously it's like, I was going through. It's reality TV, so it's not like it's scripted. There wasn't like there wasn't exactly like a auditioning process for it. It was a lot of the cooking on Top Chef, or a lot of the contestants on Top Chef in the beginning were personality based. So it wasn't like, it's not like you walked in. So I guess it was a little bit more unique than, I guess, gets, how most TV and how most movies get cast. Mine was more personality based. It wasn't even like cooking based. Like they didn't say, hey, make a dish or cook for us. I came in, I had a little bit of a fiery attitude, and I think they liked it. But I don't know. I mean, at one point I felt it after watching the show. I felt like, that was somebody had said something. One of the chefs were like, well, Dale's Asian, all he does is Asian food. And I was like, well, that's kind of fucked up to say, because, if an Italian chef was here and he banged out Italian food, no one would say anything about it. Right. But like, you're shitting on me because all I do is Asian food, but that's what I do. So I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit of a little jab at the culture, but otherwise, I don't think it was any different from my point of view. There wasn't much difference. Everyone was treated pretty fairly. There was, especially on that show, it was such an honest show. It was very much about like, if you can cook, you can cook. If you can't, you're out. So I didn't feel like there was any discrimination or anything like that. It was just really just about the best dude showing up, making the best plate of food.
Right on.
I've read your cookbook in prep for this, and so there are a lot of dishes in there that look amazing to make. And so what is a dish that you recommend that I attempt to make, but keep in mind, A, I'm lazy, B, I am not the best at following directions, and C, I would like to eat something delicious but not be super hard.
Hey, listen, I made that cookbook for the exact same type.
Yes.
At home, I'm not the most like trying to put like a recipe together that has 14 steps to it. So we're all in the same boat. I feel like there is a recipe in that book that is, it's a green mango salad, and it reminds me a lot of my grandmother. And it's very, as Filipino as it gets. It's really just kind of green mangoes, chilies, olive oil, a little bit of lime juice, or sherry vinegar, and like really get gogong.
Oh.
A little bit more. But I kind of added some more herbs to it to kind of make it a little bit more friendly to the Western palate. But it really is, green mangoes and gogong, which to us is kind of like a snack. But I've kind of like tried to turn it into a salad, or like what a green papaya salad would be for for the Thai. The Thai cuisine.
Interesting.
I think it's very easy, chill, but it's home to kind of all our flavor palettes, right? It's like the tart mango, the really funky bagoong, a little bit of sugar to bring out some sweetness to it. You can crush them to, kind of make it your own if you have stuff laying around in the fridge. A tomato that you got to get rid of, put it in there. But that dish to me is, as long as you can find bagoong, or if you have it around the house, you're halfway home.
Mike, we're gonna be eating vegetables. Are you gonna be able to handle that?
I know you feel like as Filipinos we need to be eating more vegetables these days.
I know.
Absolutely.
And Mike doesn't like to eat vegetables.
I could not find vegetables to save my life.
Come on, Mike. See, we're gonna have veggies
with a side of lechon.
with a side of lechon.
No, our vegetables come with like ours are all pork flavored.
Yeah.
So, what are these green beans like? They're pork flavored.
Well, Joe has said that. Joe says that pork is a spice.
Yes.
Pork is a spice to Filipinos.
Sure.
So how did you get into the industry, and what sustained you in the industry, especially during hard times when you first started and whatnot?
I went to culinary school. My mom was, I don't know if we've already seen the Joe Coy special, his new comedy special.
Your mom's a nurse?
My mom's a nurse. My dad, of course. And but unlike his mom, my mom really pushed me to follow my dreams.
Oh.
I really feel like my parents were both, my dad was a Boilermaker, tradesman, worked really long, hard hours, got really dirty. I'm sure he wanted me to have like a white collar job. It just wasn't in my cards. And as soon as he kind of got over the fact that he knew that like this was never going to happen for me, I think he understood, like, listen, he likes, my mom was like, he likes to do this. It's what he likes to do. What's encouraged this. So once my dad got behind it, my mom was always like, listen, not all of our kids need to be lawyers or doctors or nurses or whatever. So I think in that way, my parents were very new school. But they're like, listen, my mom, it also helped that my mom really loved cooking. So she was all for it. As long as you're going to go, you got to go to school. And if you're going to go to cooking school, you might as well go to the best one.
Right on.
So sent me to Culinary Institute of America up in Hyde Park, New York, which is the best culinary school in the world.
Wow.
And I smoked and drank my way through it. And
Like a true college experience.
landed on my feet in Chicago and kind of hustled around Chicago. And then I was out of a job for like 6 to 8 months and saw that as like kind of my calling to come to New York. And then landed on my feet at a place with Star Restaurant Group, which owns Morimoto and Budokan. And I was the opening sous chef for Morimoto. I was there for about 2 years and became chef de cuisine, and then moved over to Budokan. And have just been, have been very blessed and lucky to just kind of be in the lane that I'm in. Found my way into a restaurant, my first one, Talde, and from there just kind of haven't stopped and won't stop.
So, like, speaking of Talde, so like that's all like in New York, and then you have spots in New Jersey, and then you open that one spot in Brooklyn, and you have something in Miami. Where else do you see yourself expanding to, or are you happy with the set of restaurants you've got right now?
No, we're always looking for really interesting and cool places to be. We just signed a deal to go to West Palm Beach, so we're in Miami
nice.
proper now, South Beach. We're going about an hour and a half north of there into a food hall. We are working on some things in upstate New York. But we really are intrigued with like the second market.
What's
Charleston,
this? Oh, okay.
New Orleans, not New York or LA or Chicago. You know what? I love Chicago. I want to go back to Chicago if the right project presents itself. But, we also like, these other cities that are like, Denver, Detroit, Kansas City, Charleston, Pittsburgh. Not major cities where we know we can kind of fit in, or we could offer something that's kind of new.
Yeah.
We like that idea of bringing something new to a city, fitting in with a neighborhood, but bringing something that's kind of not there yet.
Interesting. Speaking of Chicago, our first podcast about food was with Sarah Lynn Pablo from Filipino Kitchen, which they're based out of Chicago. So we, in a way to like tie that episode with this one, what would you say to a young Filipino American cook, culinary student who is thinking about establishing like a voice, an authentic voice, with their food?
I think it starts with technique. So if you're a young culinarian and you're Filipino, start with technique, because technique never goes away. If you're a solid, in my world, there's two cooks, good and bad, right? Either you're a good cook and you don't take shortcuts, and you're a nice person, and you're trying to do the right thing, or you're just not. But always, for me, it starts with being a good cook. If you're doing the right thing and you're a good cook, everything else will fall into place. And then try to experience life as close as you can. I mean, your parents are always going to say, go get health insurance and do all that shit. And it's like, I feel that. But, if you can stage, if you can travel, that's the best way to find your voice through food. Traveling, experiencing, eating out. And then doing the digging that you need to do, like asking your mom, how do you make this? Filipinos are notorious for not having recipes.
Yes.
And and then kind of like just this is how you make it, and not having the patience to like show you exactly how to go through the whole process, and that's a lot of the Asian culture. We all just kind of grew up eating well and being able to cook, and it's like you have to carve out that time with your mom, your Lola, your aunts, everyone who cooks in your family, and say, how do you make that? I need to show. Do you have time to show me how to make that? And making it important that these recipes don't get lost. And then from there, you turn it into your own food.
That's really good.
You put your imprint on it.
So you're saying when I go out to eat all the time, I can say that I am exploring new foods, and that it totally cosigns that I can go out all the time to eat.
When the waiter goes, that's a lot of food, you're going, it's for a good cause.
It's research. It's research.
Research.
So
shut up and get me those 4 entrees.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey Dale, so we've seen kind of this latest like an explosion, if you will, of Filipino food, going into mainstream restaurants, and people opening up, like especially second generation Filipino Americans. What's your impression of this kind of latest trend?
Ain't about fucking time, right?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. We've been waiting for this shit for like 10 years, and everybody's saying Filipino food's going to be the hot next thing. And as much as we want to believe it's an explosion, and it's about time. It's just about, a lot of us are in our 30s right now, right? If you here because your parents had a green card to become a licensed medical practitioner in this country, you probably came here in the early 70s, late 60s. And if they had children shortly after that, it's about time that we kind of like did our thing, right?
Yeah.
We're at the age where we all should be kind of doing our thing. So that's kind of how I see it. Now, I don't believe the hype that like it's the next that people are accepting it as widely as the people are.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I don't give a fuck if they are taking it or not.
Yeah. Amen.
Cook
Amen.
Filipino food, whether you know it's Filipino or not, it is. And I don't need to call it Filipino food for you to eat it.
Right.
You're going to come into my restaurant, you're going to eat something, and hopefully you're going to say it's delicious. And I'll tell you, well, it came from the point of view of, that's a Filipino dish just reinterpreted a little bit.
That's an excellent point. Because like our friend John Eric Concordia, they opened the Park's Finest, and it's a barbecue joint. But he always I know this tagline because I've heard him say it so many times. It's American cuts of barbecue with Filipino flavor. Like he always says that. And it's like, but it's not a Filipino restaurant, right? It's a barbecue restaurant, and it's going to be good no matter what it is because you got to like barbecue, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Me. So that's what, I'm through trying to convince people to eat, trying to convince people that this is what it is.
Yeah.
People will, I have the luxury of people wanting to eat my food because, maybe I've been on TV or doing of all that, being on TV or a certain amount of status that I've been able to create. I really am blessed that people will try my food. And if, that restaurant's really kind of gone through in my head, this these transformations of what the food's going to be. So I'm opening a new restaurant in the next year. It's called Rice and Gold. And it started off as just saying we're doing, it's anywhere rice is set for the plate. And then I started digging into it, and I was like, what do I really want in this restaurant? And I want there to be a large percentage of this menu to be Filipino. So that's what I'm doing. And you don't know it's Filipino. I'm not calling it the traditional Filipino dishes, but it's Filipino food. So my mom's arroz caldo, gonna be there for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh, that sounds good.
Lumpia Shanghai, it's just egg rolls, right? So I don't need to explain it to you, and I'm not gonna explain it to anybody. I'm just gonna cook it, and hopefully it tastes good. And not in a kind of shitty, cocky way. Aren't you just done explaining it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm fucking tired of explaining it.
Yes.
Just eat it.
Okay. What about Do you ever have to explain, that food to your relatives or Filipino immigrants? Like, what's your... Yeah.
My mom and my aunt are the two largest investors in Talde. When they eat there, they shit on everything all day long. This isn't Filipino food. I said never was, never meant it. But it's Talde and there's a Filipino son. It's not Filipino food.
Mm-hmm.
This is just my food.
Yeah.
But
food. Nice.
they like it. They love the food.
They love
and then
you.
Like it's always like, the Philippine consulate of New York comes in and they're like, oh, you know what you should have on your menu? I'm like, no, please. Please.
Let me do the cooking. You can do the consolating.
Please bless me with your knowledge.
You do your job, I'll do mine.
But like, you know what? Isn't that what makes our people so good?
Yep.
Yes.
Is that we don't ever hold punches. We don't ever hold it back.
Yep.
We're gonna tell you exactly how it is. And I love that about who we are.
Yeah.
We are our harshest critics, after all.
I mean, your mom telling you and your aunt saying like, "Yo, this isn't Filipino food. What's going on?" I mean, that's the most Filipino thing to happen.
It gets no better than that.
Right? Are you gonna have bok choy at this other place, this new restaurant?
We're working on the recipe.
Oh,
The thing for me, so my favorite bok choy is La Paz. My mom's from Iloilo.
so is Mike.
So La Paz bok choy is like bok choy is like the jam, right? And if it is, it comes with all free soup.
Yep.
Just gotta get right. So we gotta say that kind of thing I will make as authentic as I can be. But I definitely think that you gotta fit it in where you can get it in, and that's how I feel about Filipino food. It's like
If there was like a fight between La Paz bok choy versus ramen versus pho, who would win? What soup would win?
doesn't everybody win?
yeah.
This is true. All our stomachs win.
In that case, so I don't see like that. They're totally different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're totally different, and I think you should respect them all for how unique each one is. And that's how I look at that. How I look at it.
Yeah.
You could say it's better or not. Like, I didn't grow up eating bok choy. It's not something I grew up eating. But when I went to Philippines and I ate it, I was like, yo, this is special. I knew immediately this is special. But I grew up eating, to be honest with you, I eat pho the most. We grew up, the neighborhood in Chicago that I was in when I moved out outside of my parents' house. The Vietnamese neighborhood was like 2 blocks down. We ate pho every time. So
That sounds like the best.
it is though. But you know what? Like, isn't there a way to make all of them the best? That's what I'm saying.
True.
It's like,
This is true. It'd be like Monday would be bok choy day, Tuesday can be pho day, Wednesday can be ramen day.
Yeah, that's a lot of soup.
It's all good.
but it's all good. I mean, noodle soup is like, it's like the biggest hug from the aunt that gives you $100 during Christmas every time.
Oh,
Wait,
$100? Which aunt?
I don't have an aunt like that.
We apparently have cheap aunts.
That was when I was young. No more.
I'm gonna be like,
Everyone got their hands on now.
Tita, Dale says he got $100.
They're chef.
I have a feeling you're a basketball fan because you write about basketball.
Basketball, I love to gamble.
Oh, perfect. All the things that we love here. So this was from Sarah Lynn again. In the Jordan Bulls era, which is your favorite team?
Uh-oh.
Can you even
my
pick?
favorite?
Yeah, in the Jordan Bulls era.
72-10 was undeniable my favorite team. Ron Harper at point, Jordan at
Hollywood,
2,
Ron the
Pippen
Hollywood Harper.
Rodman at 4, and Luke Longley at 5. That was my favorite squad.
Joe,
Where are you guys based out of?
We're based out of Los Angeles, so
Okay.
Joe looked really pained.
Joe looked
when you were
pained.
explaining that. I was really happy. I was a Jordan fan, so
I would say the 01 Lakers can
Stop,
beat the
Joe.
72-10.
stop, Joe. Stop it, Joe. Joe, stop.
please
be nice to our guests.
hospitable
Please
to
be
our
nice to our
guests. We're talking about the Chicago Bulls.
I'll say this. when Golden State won, when Golden State lost last year to the Cavs, I did not give a shit.
Same.
All I wanted was Golden State not to win, so I could keep 72-10 is still the best. And when Golden State lost, that's the only thing I said. And I was with a bunch of dudes, and I didn't say anything during the game because I was so nervous that I would lose at 72-10. And when the buzzer went off, I was like, yes, still the best.
Yep.
You know what's the funny thing about that was, we were like, me and my cousin is a big basketball fan and they're like coaches, but we were like, we don't want the Warriors to win, but we don't want LeBron to win. So we don't know what to do.
Turn off the TV and not watch it.
Oh, I'll give it to LeBron all day as long as my Bulls still hold that title.
Okay. Continuing with the NBA theme, if you can assemble like a dream team, like almost like the 92 dream team, but like your personal dream team, past or present players, who would your starting five be? And the bonus is, who would be your sixth man?
This is hard.
It's a good one.
It's not that hard. You have it in your mind.
No, I know.
We want to hear his.
Yeah, I know. But
Shaq at center.
ooh.
Jordan at 2.
Ooh.
Okay, so now it starts to get. I would have LeBron at point guard.
Wow.
Over Magic?
Oh man. Joe, go to the corner.
Okay. Sorry. I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. I would have LeBron at the 1. So now I'm looking for power forward and shooting guard or small forward.
Yeah,
So
3
you like,
Small forward, Larry Bird.
Yeah.
I hate you, Ryan.
Power forward.
Karl Malone.
I thought about it, but
I
he's
know.
too dumb. Harmon's too dumb for me to put him on.
Horace
power forward.
Grant.
Tim Duncan.
Tim Duncan.
Oh, Tim Duncan.
Oh yeah, Timmy D.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I
a
would
good
have
one.
Timmy
That's
D.
a good 5. Who would your six man be? Who would be that one off the bench?
It would not be Kobe. That's for
Love it. Yeah.
hater.
Yes.
Hater. Fucking hater.
Joe, are you okay?
Pip.
You
I'm
okay?
He says Pippin.
Pippin. Oh,
yeah, there you go. That's a good.
That's a good
Yeah.
6.
Dale and I are like this. We're in lockstep.
Joe and I are having hurt feelings right now because there's like Larry
You're
Bird
good,
and
bro.
no
I know
Magic
you guys
Johnson.
from LA, man. I know you guys are from LA. Kobe is king there, but
No,
Not to us though.
I never
good, though.
liked them. So
You're good. You're good. Go Jordan.
Ryan is a Clippers fan, so it makes our relationship very hard.
good man.
Another thing. So when I read your book and I saw you on TV, I totally kept thinking like, yo, this dude could be my cousin. Like straight up, his attitude, the way he like loves ball, loves food, also loves hip hop. So this is a hip hop question. If you could, I love dream questions. This is another dream question. If you could do your own lineup of a concert, dead or alive, who would be on your lineup?
I've already had that. I watched it. And
Who was it?
Unfortunately, I got too shit faced to enjoy it. It was Black Star, Common.
Ooh.
So this was the one I know.
Oh my God.
So excited, I got too shit faced and could not. So it was Common, Black. This is Mos Def and Talib. This is
Yes.
and this is a Black Star, but this is before Mos became
Yasin.
Crazy
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Common, De La, and Tribe.
Wow.
They performed at the Metro in Chicago one year, and I just went. It was unbelievable. At one point, Mos and Common were breakdancing, and I lost my shit.
Is that on video somewhere? I want to see this.
Why were you too shit faced?
Yeah, I'm dating myself right now. That is like some old hip hop shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay because I think I've seen all those acts separate. Actually.
My favorite.
So
And
why
I would throw the Roots in there because the Roots are like just
They can be the backing band.
they're my jam.
So why were you too shit faced to enjoy the concert?
Joe, it's a concert.
I just got so excited. I was like, after Def, I was like, oh, that was dope. So it was Common and then Mos Def, and then you kind of didn't know who was coming up and who was leaving because they all were just kind of like rhyming each other. They were just like rhyming on each other's songs, and it just became, and I got fucked up, and then I just remember falling out and like not remembering the rest. Like my friends carrying me out of the concert.
Oh, you haven't had that happen, Joe? I mean, come on. Who else has that? I mean, that was like the last time I saw Wu-Tang, maybe. You guys have any other?
Well, I'm curious, Dale. I know you're a chef, and you know much success, a successful one, and continued success to your restaurants. But if I could ask you what you like to eat, like what's your kind of like comfort food or go-to food, what would that be? Or
I'm crazy emotional eater.
Yeah.
So if I'm having a really bad day, like fried chicken and rice is like Popeyes and rice with hot sauce and ranch, and
That sounds so good.
it's my jam.
Oh man, that sounds so good.
I want that right now.
Sometimes Filipino food, like kare kare. Is I love puchero. If you're talking Filipino food, but like in general, like I'm a real emotional eater, and I'm a real sucker. I am Food Networks and like advertisers, I'm the idiot that follows all those. Like if you flash a burger in front of me, I'm like, oh, I want a burger.
I'm the same way.
Yeah,
I'm completely the same way.
Guys, diners, drive-ins, and dives.
Yeah.
I just end up wanting to eat whatever the fuck is on TV.
I've been watching Great British Bake Off for the past couple weeks, and all I want to do is eat cake. So I completely relate to this.
You see the new one, the American one with Johnny Uzzini?
I haven't seen it. I need to catch up on that because I'm just like binging on Netflix.
He's my homeboy. Johnny Uzzini's on. He's one of the judges on there, and he does a really good job on it. He's a good dude. But I'm that same kind of guy, man. If they're making cakes, I want to eat cake all the time.
Yes.
I got a question for you. Dale. If you had to pitch a cooking show or any kind of food-related show to the Food Network or any kind of network, what would it be?
So my wife and I have been cooking up this idea for a while, and it's it varies between it would be more lifestyle. Mm-hmm. I've had a couple. So I had one where I have the idea of where it's kind of my two loves, sports and cooking. Where I would love to see, I would love to have someone who's kind of an athlete who loves food, and then me, a chef that loves sports. And we would just kind of interview dudes, athletes or chefs kind of doing the thing. But it would really be about I would love the athletes to throw them into the ring and cook what is it that you do well. And then me kind of doing the opposite and all right, well, put me on some skates and let me shoot a hockey puck.
That's cool.
Ridiculous failure that would be, or
I would watch that.
Go up and try and block this volleyball dude's spike.
Right.
Or why don't you run a 20-yard out and try and catch this ball from this quarterback, and I'm not trying to throw up from running so fast.
That's actually
like that. I also we just like the idea of I love in America the pockets of culture in all these major cities. So even in Chicago, you have the Filipino, a lot, you go to Skokie, there's a lot of Filipinos. You go to, West Chicago, a lot of Puerto Ricans. You go here, there's a lot of Mexicans, got a lot of Polish. I love the food that happens in America from other cultures because it has to.
Yep.
Yes.
Right? So in the Philippines, even here, we're blessed in the Philippines. Filipinos are blessed because we are the chameleons of culture, right? We just we absorb everyone else's and kind of make our own. But when you see when you go into Vietnamese neighborhoods in New Orleans, because there's a lot of shrimpers down there.
Yeah.
The food that happens in New Orleans is magic.
Oh, I want to eat that. That sounds good.
You know what I mean? The hot pot boils that they have down there that are part Cajun, part Creole, part Vietnamese.
Yeah.
And I like shows that I would love a show that kind of delved into that culture.
And how they influence all these different culinary traditions.
Yeah, and how they have to make do with they don't have this, they don't have these ingredients, but they're making their own food, or making really good food that's a combination of both cultures.
Yeah.
I,
That sounds awesome. Because I think about that all the time about like with LA, like if I were to ever leave, I always get scared because I'm like, if I leave LA, where am I going to find a place that has bomb ass pupusas made by El Salvadorians and then like Zanku chicken, which I don't know what crack is in there, but Zanku chicken. What else is In-N-Out hamburgers because I cannot not eat those.
But I mean, each city has
Has
their
its own, yeah.
Yeah, just look at Filipinos, like the army-based culture.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, there's all these, there's all these black folks that are married to Filipino people, and now they're making like soul food, Filipino food. That's like the jam. You know what I mean? Like that to me is super cool.
So it doubles the rate of hypertension and high blood pressure and diabetes.
Yes, your chances of high blood pressure and diabetes go up like 100%.
It's like you're guaranteed it. Because I think in like soul food, pork is also a spice.
If I were to do,
the longer you cook a vegetable, the better it is.
Exactly.
Hey Dale, if I were to do a Dale Talde restaurant tour, where would you start me off? What should I get? And where would I finish?
Oh, good question, Ryan.
That way you can tell us all your restaurants. Yeah.
Go in Chicago, we would do Mexican food in Chicago first. But Chicago has bomb Mexican food. We would start in my mom's kitchen, and we would have do you know eggplant that's dipped in egg and then pan fried star tong stalong?
Yeah, it's Elaine's favorite.
I hate that dish. I hate it with a passion.
Yeah,
So
it's just her. I don't know what's wrong with her.
My mom force fed it to me, but Ryan and Joe can eat it.
But it is something that like kind of encapsulates what like it's ketchup. She eat it with ketchup and rice.
Sauce. Yeah.
Yes, it did all those things.
So we would have that dish because it kind of would be a starting point, like where we're from.
Yeah.
I would get Pequod's Pizza, which is a thick crust pizza out of Chicago, and I don't like thick crust pizza, but I love this one. We would get Korean food at my wife's Korean, and there's a place called Aluminum Jip in Jersey City. I'm sorry, in Fort Lee, Palisades Park, New Jersey. We would eat there and get short rib and pork belly.
I'm getting so hungry.
We would eat an Italian sub from my restaurant Masoni because I love Italian subs. Yo, LA got weak sandwich game. No,
We do. I agree.
Yeah,
We do?
I agree.
it's true. In terms of delis.
Yeah.
Oh, in deli sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
except
a
except
couple.
that one place. What's
Santa
that
Monica?
where you can get the dip sandwiches?
Oh, Philippe's.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Those sandwiches, those are pretty good. Where else would I go? I don't know. LA got ill Korean food. We went to Park. One of our good. My wife's best friends lives in LA, and she took us to Park Barbecue.
Yeah.
That's the place everyone talks about.
It was lights out.
Yeah.
We would go to Miami. I spent a lot of time in Miami. We would go to Puerto Sagua in Miami and get some oxtails with rice and beans and maduros and plantains.
Wow.
And then we would finish it back up in Brooklyn and go get Brooklyn blackout cake from my very good friend at Du Jour Bakery. He's Filipino and she's Chinese. They make the best chocolate cake you've ever had in your life.
Oh.
It's devil's food cake, chocolate pudding, and repeat like 4 times.
Oh my God, it's diabetes.
What's it called again? The restaurant?
Brooklyn blackout cake. The restaurant's called Du Jour Bakery.
Okay.
That sounds
good to
so
know.
good.
So that's binding, right? Like all the stuff that you said verbally, we're gonna do this, right?
We're going to do this. He's going to come. We're going to get in a plane. And then we're going to go.
Yeah, was Anthony Bourdain that up?
We had this episode called Half-Baked Ideas. And one of our half-baked ideas, we want to give this to you, pitch it to you, see if this is even feasible. It's the best one. It's of something from Joe's brain.
No, it's my friend's brain.
Oh, it's his friend's brain.
Pitch
but
it, Joe, pitch it.
Pitch it, Joe. You do it.
So, have you've been to San Francisco and you've had the sourdough bread bowls?
Yep.
And you have the clam chowder inside. So this version would be a bread bowl made out of puto, and then you put dinuguan inside.
It's so brilliant.
I mean,
What do you think?
Yo, I'm trying to do that for the new restaurant. No bullshit. You guys heard of puto pao?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm trying to make mini versions of that, except not put the shopao filling and do a denuguan filling.
Oh my God, Joe, it's your idea.
It's baked.
It's gonna be baked.
Fly
It's
idea, I like that.
Nice.
Fly idea.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Where's that gonna be?
There's a place called Rice and Gold. It's in Chinatown here in New York.
Okay.
It's at the corner of Rice and Bowery Canal.
Okay. Good
So
to know.
TFL field trip to New
Yep.
York, and we have to eat all these things.
Yes, I agree. That's awesome.
I'm back.
Cool. Any other questions?
I think that's it. We just wanted to say thanks,
Yeah.
Dale, for doing this, and I know much success to you. And I personally, this is Ryan. I remember watching you on Top Chef, and I'm like, dang, there's a Filipino guy on Top Chef, and I think it's a reaction that a lot of folks had, seeing we were talking about craving Filipino Americans and on television. And so, there's like, oh man, I'm so proud. Especially when you bust it out with the halo halo on the dessert, because I don't know how to make dessert. I don't know how to make dessert.
I only did what I got, bro.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm like, oh, dude, he's doing it. He's going for the gusto. And I was an avid watcher of Top Chef, like probably the first few seasons. I have to say it was Padma Lakshmi was the reason I watched. But then when you came on, dude. Yeah, but thank you for being here. Pitches?
No.
Plugs?
Do you have any plugs for your restaurants that you would like to?
We have a new rooftop called The Heights. Come check us out. It's on 31st between 5th and Madison. Also, the restaurant Masoni. The next project we have coming on is called Rice and Gold. And it's also called The Green Lady. It's a club called The Green Lady, but the restaurant's called Rice and Gold. Asian American was what the food we're calling it. 200 seats, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Ooh.
We just signed on to do a food hall in West Palm Beach called Claire's Chicken and The Corner, and a bar called the Little Red Truck. And that's kind of it for right now.
That's a lot.
But,
Cool.
That's awesome.
I
Thank
got
you
a digital
so much.
show on Food Network. It's
Oh,
going to be called New Q. I'm the host.
cool.
Yeah. So it's
wh-
getting chopped out, and I don't know when it's coming out, but keep a lookout for it.
What's the show about?
What's new in barbecue?
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Techniques, new chefs, new dishes, new ingredients. Just not your traditional barbecue.
Okay.
And approaches to all that new stuff.
When this goes up, we'll include all the links and whatnot to your restaurants and all these places that you've mentioned.
Thank you.
And to
Yeah.
if New Q is up, we'll put up a link to New Q.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And apparently Dale doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of things going on, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. My mom worked the graveyard, so I know what's up and not sleeping. So
Cool.
There you go.
Thank you so much for doing this. I never thought a tweet out to somebody would work. So we are so grateful and thankful for you right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dale.
Peace
Thank
out.
you.
This Filipino American Life is produced by Michael Nailat. Our intro and outro music is by Roger Habon, aka 10.4 Raj. Resident reality checker Girly Colado, legal advisor Rianne Fajardo, and graphic design by Vincent Collyer.